Welcome to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Hey, welcome to Behind the Law featuring attorney Justin Clark of Gregory and Clark. Now, we're taking your calls right now at 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. You're listening on 96.5 News 96.5 and, of course, WRDQ TV 27. Justin Clark, how are you today?
What's up, brother? Good to see you. Happy Sunday.
We're going to help people keep their homes.
I know, and that's what we should do because, let me tell you, the real estate market's crazy out there right now. I know you hear on some of your other shows how we've gone from it being an incredible buyer's market to really a seller's market. There's not a lot of inventory out there. So if you're struggling to make your payment, struggling to make your mortgage payment, in the past, you would just say, all right, screw it. I'll just do a short sale, get rid of my house, and go buy something else. It's becoming more difficult to do that because the market is so weird. We're in the weirdest market I think anyone's ever seen because what's going on, the prices are still low. It's not like they've just exploded up while they are increasing. It's not like they're out of control, but there's no inventory. These big hedge funds are coming in, buying up all the inventory, so regular people like me and you, we can't go buy a house right now. It's ridiculous. So my thought process is instead of getting rid of the house that you're in because it's so far underwater, let's try to find a way to stay in your house. Let's lower your payment, possibly lower the principal on your house, but stay there. We don't have to move.
One of the other things, you're talking about inventory of new homes out there. The inventory of rentals is getting just very small because so many people that were foreclosed upon, so many people that took the short sale route are used to paying $1,200, $1,500, $1,700. They're good renters, and they're renting up those homes that are being bought by the hedge funds. And so it's hard to find a rental right now in Orlando. You've got to stay in your home, and that's where you need good legal advice.
And let me tell you something, the rental rates are continuing to rise.
Oh, yes.
And the inventory in rental properties is very small. It's a great time to be a landlord, I know that. But if you're out there going to Craigslist.com or PadMapper.com looking for a rental home, they are fewer and far between now. It's quite ridiculous, and they're very expensive. Most of my clients, they come in and say, well, shoot, man, my mortgage payment's only $1,500. I'm going to go rent a house down the street for $1,900. So it doesn't make any sense. Even if your house is underwater, you own that house. It's your home. Don't forget you're going to be getting the interest credit as well when the tax man comes at the end of the year. Sometimes it's better to stay in your house.
This is something new to our country. It's something new to our society and something new to our generation. Foreclosures, short sales were unheard of 15 years ago. Now it's a way of life, but you've got to have an attorney on your side because there's no consumer out there that can keep up to date with the changing HARP and hemp and all the changing laws and the banks, the short sales. That's where you come in.
You have to. It changes every day. This is what I do. I've done thousands of these, and you really do need to know. You have to know what you're doing. I mean, a modification, for instance, is a very, very difficult, challenging event for anyone's life. Ask anyone who's done it. Most people come in my office after a year. They're going crazy. I've been working on this for a year. The bank keeps calling me, saying I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, and they're just frustrated. When people come in my office, they are frustrated. And let me be totally honest about a loan modification. A loan modification really isn't a legal thing, okay? It's really a financial thing. I have financial people in my office who know how to underwrite these files, Rob, and we work backwards, okay? We're trying to get you a 2% interest rate, which is as low as they can go. So we work backwards from that. A lot of people are self-employed. You have to know how to deal with rental income and all sorts of tax forms. It's very difficult and complicated for someone who doesn't do that kind of work to do themselves. But, my clients, before they hire me, they call the bank, and the bank says, yeah, don't worry about it. Send in this, and we're going to help you save your house. It'll be quick. It'll be short. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. We're talking about some people have been going through this loan modification for years, It becomes a part-time job for them, and it's a miserable part-time job. And I think you shouldn't do it yourself. It's too complicated and just too much of a nightmare. And if you're at home right now going through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And there's something else that we haven't talked about on this. And if you have a professional, if you have Justin Clark or one of the people at Gregory and Clark working on this for you, they're doing all the work. In my own office during the week, Monday through Friday, I have found somebody who's on the phone literally 3 or 4 hours a day when I go by their desk. Hey, how you doing? I'm working on something. They're working on their modification. So your boss is pretty soon going to look at you and go, hey, do this some other time, hire somebody to do it. You're not working for me right now. You're working for the modification. Something's got to give.
And this is the same story I hear over and over. People, and literally they lose focus of other parts of their lives because they become so wrapped up in this. And I'm like, you go do your thing. We'll do our thing. Let us take care of the modification for you because it's a challenge. And quite frankly, we just have done so many of them. We know what we're doing at this point.
I like that. You all kind of pioneered this. Hey, we're going to take another break right now, but if you need legal advice now or any time for that matter, you can call Justin's office at 321-282-1055.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
I've been trying desperately to get a loan modification on it just to get the rate reduced where it's a little bit more affordable, either the HARP or the HAMP program, and I'm not behind.
Stay tuned. Justin Clark will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
As always, I'm here with attorney Justin Clark, and today we're talking about all those tricks that the banks are pulling that could cost you your home.
How do you save your house? What do you do? What programs are out there? I mean, most people don't know really what the heck they're doing. They call the bank and say, hey, I can't afford my payment, but if you can help me out a little bit, maybe I can stay in my house. What do we do? How do we save the home? The first way is HARP. And I know you've talked probably a million times about this HARP 2.0. Mm-hmm. It's a new refinance. But I want to make sure everyone's clear about the differences here because HARP is not a loan modification at all. HARP is a true refinance, meaning that a new lender is coming in and paying new money to pay off your old lender and you're going to get a new mortgage. But the great thing about HARP is it's a refinance program for people who are underwater, okay? Has to be Fannie or Freddie, though. It has to be, your loan has to be backed by Fannie or Freddie, which a lot of people are, but a lot of people aren't, too. So some people are kicked right out of that program right away. One of the most important things you need to remember about HARP is you have to be current, okay? So a lot of people who are struggling to pay their mortgage have missed mortgage payments, so they are disqualified as well. But if you have a Fannie or Freddie loan, you are current, you have no late payments on anything else in the last 12 months, or actually you can have one late payment on something in the last 12 months, you might want to consider a HARP. And I think if you're going to do a HARP, you're probably going to get a phone call from your existing lender. Let's say it's Wells Fargo. They might even call you and say, okay, we want to do a HARP. I don't think you should do it directly through that bank. I think we should use someone who really specializes in the HARP process, like an RP funding, because it should be a very simple, seamless process. But these banks screw it up. Like they screw everything else up with the modifications. They make it so much more difficult than it really should be.
And if it's a refi, let me ask you this, Justin: if a HARP is a refi, and you go with the existing lender you've got now, aren't they going to take you for granted a little bit and charge you fee after fee after fee to where like a Robert Palmer doesn't charge fees?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And they're going to make it a challenge. It becomes like a part-time job, just like a modification. Whereas if you go with someone local who really knows how to do HARP, and Robert has direct connections into Fannie and Freddie, or just Fannie. I think he does not do Freddie, but it's a seamless process and an easy process, and it costs very little. That's the key.
So he's not charging you the fees up front. That would be rpfunding.com, by the way, during the week if you want to take a look at that. The other thing that you brought up last week, very important. Some people will get talked into a HARP by their bank to where another lender might say, whoa, wait a minute. You're on a 30-year mortgage and you're 21 years into it. Do you want to start the clock again for 30 more years?
No,
so you really need the advice of somebody who's been through this. Maybe there's another route.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to make a stupid decision. Let's not compound our already existing problems into something even worse, you know? And so you really need to talk to someone, and you got to do the math. Let's figure out what's best for you. Sometimes doing a refinance is not what's best for you because anytime you do a HARP, there is a fee associated with that. Typically, they add about $4,000 to $6,000 onto your mortgage. Whereas, and we're going to talk about this later, when we do a modification is modifying your existing mortgage. We're not getting new money like in a HARP situation. In a modification, there is no fees. There are no fees in a loan modification. So sometimes that's the way to go. But a modification can only be done based on certain income. So I have to prove to the bank that you can't pay the mortgage as it is now, but if they reduce it, you can.
All right, I want to give you some numbers. If you're listening to the radio show right now, we welcome your input. We welcome your calls. Be part of the conversation at 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. Now, if you're watching the program on television, we have associates standing by at the office right now at 321-282-1055. Those are people at Gregory and Clark waiting to help you to take your call even right now on a weekend at 321-282-1055. Hey, Devin, you're driving on the road. Please be careful. What's going on?
I have a property that was originally a secondary residence out of state, and I'm paying almost a 7% interest rate.
Right.
And I've been trying desperately to get a loan modification on it just to get the rate reduced where it becomes a little bit more affordable, either the HARP or the HAMP program. And I'm not behind, but it's struggling every month. It's pretty much liquidated all my capital and assets to hold on to the property.
Are you living in this house or no?
Well, I'm turning it into my primary residence.
Sure.
And have filed income taxes. And the problem is that I'm self-employed and I'm underemployed. My income has drastically changed over this economy.
Right.
And I can't qualify for refinance because of income-wise. My ratios are out of whack. But
sure. It's the old problem, Devin. It's the old problem of being self-employed. You don't want to pay taxes, but we want to show we have enough money to get mortgages too. So it's a problem that really everyone that's self-employed deals with. But, in your case, normally I would say just get a regular mortgage because you're not underwater, but it seems like you don't have the income right now to support a new mortgage. So as far as I'm concerned, you have two options. One is try to do a loan modification, and it would help if you live in the property, but it's not a requirement. So we can always try to do a loan mod. Or the second option is you need to have someone co-sign on the new mortgage just through a traditional refinance program and try to save it that way. I mean, and of course, you are in pretty good shape because you could always just sell the house too and pocket the change. And I appreciate the call.
We've got to take a break, but here's something to think about. Are you working on a short sale? Whether you're short selling or buying, the offices of Gregory and Clark can help you. Just give their office a call at 321-282-1055. They're open right now. We'll be right back.
Itching for more Behind the Law? Check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Gregory and Clark. And you can call Justin's office right now at 321-282-1055.
As of right now, 3.9 million checks have been sent out to homeowners. Only about 1.5 million have been cashed, though, so there's still a lot of checks floating out there.
Stay tuned. Justin Clark will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to Behind the Law, featuring Justin Clark of Gregory and Clark. On the radio, we're taking your calls right now at 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. If you're listening to the radio program, that means it's noon on Sunday. Now, if you're watching on television, totally different game. That's Saturday morning at 10:30. That's Justin Clark's savings time. I think that's what we're doing. But we're all about saving your home. That's what we're doing. But if you want to call the office anytime, you can do that at 321-282-1055. 321-282-1055. Associates are standing by right now. If you're tuning in late to the program, we're talking about saving your house and the fact that you really need a trained professional to do that.
I think so too, Rob. I actually was watching the show last night on DVR, the Behind the Law, with Justin Clark and Rob Newton, of course. And I was noticing that you can only see from here up. I'm really considering maybe just wearing gym shorts from now on. What do you think about that?
It can happen.
Because you can't even see, right? On TV, you can't see. So I can wear a decent shirt, like gym shorts. No big deal.
I'm wearing torn-up jeans. I can't see that.
You're so young and hip, Rob. I love it. So this Rust Consultant, we talked about this on the show 2 weeks ago. First of all, I almost forgot. How cool was it having Karen Long on last week?
That was so great.
Oh, my goodness. She's doing great. They have so much fun when they come on the show, and apparently her health is just fantastic. So I was very happy to have her on.
And it totally makes you thankful for our OPD. What a great department they are.
Absolutely. But anyway, 2 weeks ago on the show, we were talking about Rust Consulting, the independent foreclosure review. You remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
What happens is, okay, so the banks did a lot of bad things, okay? They foreclosed on a lot of good people. And they foreclosed wrongfully on a lot of people. So in an effort to kind of pay people back, the government set up this thing called the Independent Foreclosure Review. And those checks have just been getting sent out since mid-April. As of right now, 3.9 million checks have been sent out to homeowners. Only about 1.5 million have been cashed, though. So there's still a lot of checks floating out there. They've given away $3.4 billion so far. And yeah, I'm glad that people are getting this money and getting the checks. It's not a lot. I mean, it's not a lot of money. Most people are getting between $300 and $1,000, but it's something. The good thing is you're not waiving any rights to sue anybody or try to keep your house. So if you have gotten that check, then there will be one more round sent out in the summer. But if you've gotten that check, you can deposit it. It's your money. It's free money. Enjoy it. Don't worry, you're not like settling your case with them.
Do you think the fact that so few checks have been cashed out of this millions that have been sent out, do you think that some of that is, one, people don't understand and they don't know? Because this is the only program I've heard talking about this. Yeah. I haven't heard it anywhere else on radio or television. And the other thing is, you were saying 2 weeks ago on the show, very interesting, you may need to call the folks that have the house now where you used to be at whatever address, because that check may have come there.
I mean, it makes perfect sense that they're not going to necessarily have everyone's address because, well, you foreclosed on the people. You know what I mean?
Go.
So it's not like they're going to just send you their new address. And I'm afraid that these checks actually being delivered is going to be a huge problem in this program because, let's face it, it's punishing the banks for foreclosing on people, meaning they don't live in the house anymore, idiot. But I don't know how.
So how did you send it to them?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously people forward mail, but we all know that's not a perfect science at this point. So, so who knows? But you can't challenge it, okay? So if you get $300, it's $300, it's $300. You can't challenge. There's no appeal process or anything. So you need to enjoy your $300, but there's just no way to challenge it, at least at this point. They're saying that there's a phone number. You can call them and say, I didn't get enough. They're going to say, sorry, that's what you get.
But some of those checks were pretty lofty from what you were saying 2 weeks ago.
They go all the way up to $125,000. So
that could help.
Some people actually got some real money out of it, but those people are few and far between. The vast majority of my clients are getting $300, $800, $500, some $1,000. I've seen one $3,000, and that's about the most that I've seen.
We're going to take another break, but if you're having any legal problems that could cost you your home, remember that the offices of Gregory and Clark are your one-stop shop for saving that home. Short sales, closings, bankruptcy, refinancing, all under one roof. Give them a call right now, 321-282-1055. We'll be right back.
The government's coming in and saying, bank, you have to give these people money. Now, how is the government going to like it if not only did they screw these people over, now they're going to sue them for the deficiency after wrongfully foreclosing on them?
Stay tuned. Justin Clark will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
As always, I'm here with attorney Justin Clark, and today we're talking about all those tricks that the banks are pulling that could cost you your home.
You know, one of the big problems with getting foreclosed on is people are worried about that deficiency judgment, meaning if you get foreclosed on, the bank has a right to sue you for the difference in what you owe them and what your house was worth at the time of foreclosure auction. All of these people, 99% of the people who would be getting these checks here were underwater, meaning they could have gotten a deficiency judgment against them. But now I'm thinking, okay, if the government's coming in and saying, bank, you have to give these people money. Now, how is the government going to like it if not only did they screw these people over, now they're going to sue them for the deficiency after wrongfully foreclosing on them? So, in my opinion, I think if you got one of these checks, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that deficiency judgment, most importantly. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to read this anywhere. This is all just coming out of my brain, and sometimes my brain doesn't work that well, Rob. You know what I mean? But I have to envision that if they are going to send you money for wrongfully foreclosing on you, they're not going to come sue you for a deficiency.
Now, wasn't there a program we did earlier this year that talked about new legislation on deficiencies, that now they only have 1 year to file that? Am I correct in that?
You're kind of correct in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But the law is very weird about this, but that's typically correct. Typically, they will need to file that motion for deficiency judgment a year after they foreclose on you. But there are a lot of issues with that.
All right, we do want you to join the conversation. If you're in foreclosure, if you've received one of these checks from Rust and you wonder what to do with it, give Justin Clark a call right now at 407-297-9696 or toll free from anywhere, 855-297-9696. While we're on the air right here on radio at noon, okay, until 1 o'clock on Sunday. Now, if you're watching on television on WRDQ TV 27, give the office a call right now or anytime at 321-282-1055. That's 321-282-1055. Great show today on how to save your house, ways that Justin can help you. But I think the bottom line, as we've been saying for months, Justin, is don't try this by yourself. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to kick the dog. You're going to be mean to your wife or husband, and that's not going to help.
I'm a dog lover, man. I don't want any dogs getting kicked. Yeah, call me, 321-282-1055 or gregory-clark.com.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of Behind the Law with Justin Clark. If you still have any questions, don't wait for next week's show. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call right now at 321-282-1055. They've got the answers. And don't forget to tune in next week for our continued discussion on problems with the banks right here on TV 27.
Thank you for watching Behind the Law with Justin Clark. Be sure to join us again next week as Justin takes you behind the law and answers your legal questions.